Hey guys, welcome back. All right, it's time we take a little peek at a love tarot topic. And I feel like I want to start a little bit different deck here. Nice to see everyone tonight. Thank you for popping by. We begin with the King of Cups. So, great way to begin if we're going to talk about the topic of love. This king is holding on to his hat. Kind of looks like I don't know, this always reminds me of like the Boondocks or something. Some coastal towns look very much like this. It makes me think of like the Goonies and such. But we have this written script. Now, he kind of looks like he could work for the press. So maybe someone's like a journalist or something. But this King of Cups could simply be thinking heavily about, also it could be somebody who like jogs at night, has a headlight on, could be somebody that like goes spelunking, could be a dentist or somebody who wears a headlight to see, into the mouth, could be somebody that does even like gem and mineral, like looking at the clarity of gems and minerals. I don't know, there's something here about this light at the top of his head or his hat here that makes me think that might be a signifier for who this character is. But he is looking at what seems to be fragments of a letter, and you can see that it's like scorched. So I'm going to say he has loving emotion, but he might be rereading somebody's letters. I'm actually picturing somebody like sitting in like their underpants on the floor, like, with some scattered stuff around them. Like looking in, I don't know if he saved letters in a shoebox or if this is just sitting there like looking at my phone, but it feels a little heavy. Okay. Hi everyone. So nice to see you. Slim Dominique. Always a pleasure to catch you. Bruce like Violets. Hi Angel. Crystal Suzanne. Hi babe. Chanda, sweetheart, good to see you. Bruce Reed, aloha. Hi Shay. Aaron Swelt, Carrie B from me. Supernova. Awesome to see you guys tonight. We have an Eight of Wands. It's in the reverse. We have the Hanged Man upright. Boy, he's been sitting on this for a while. So this is an old letter. This is something that has those, burned, aged edges. There's no communication, hasn't been for a long time. The communication failed. And, I almost feel like, I know this is more like an acrobat, but with those flags, it makes me think of somebody who's like, doing the I can't think of the proper name, but the airport terminals, when the flaggers are, doing the proper hand signals to guide aircraft on the tarmac. Oh God, the name almost came to my mind and then it disappeared again. Okay, and sorry, I'm going to connect weird dots right now, but Monty Python at one point did like the airport flagging version of Wuthering Heights, because I love British humor, so Monty Python's right up my alley. But now, speaking of that, Heathcliff, oh Heathcliff is what they were flagging. Okay, but then Heathcliff brings me to that song by Kate Bush. Heathcliff, it's me, it's Kathy, I've come home and I'm so cold. Let me into your windows. That part of the song is so amazing, by the way. Terrific song if you haven't heard it. The rest of it's kind of funky, kind of weird, but when she gets to the chorus, amazing. And for some reason, completely in a different direction, I am hearing Etta James, I'd rather go blind, but I'm hearing it done by Beyonce in like the RCA film with Adrian Brody. I think it's just called like RCA, but in any case, she does a stellar version. Oh man, Beyonce knocks it out of the park. So I'm sorry to go on and on about all these other side notes, but when things pop into my head, maybe that's something to do with the story. So I'll always spit it out and put it in there. I don't know if she worked for an airport. This looks like a feminine. Maybe somebody does like aerial silks or something as well. And even here we have kind of like tie-dye looking, silky. Someone could also live in an area, I'm thinking like a Kentucky someplace, because we see the horses running and then we kind of see like a tornado-esque vibe here. But I also look at, I don't know if somebody's eating like marbled cake or marbled, like even swirling something like into their beverage or something. or making like a, I don't know, like cheesecake brownie swirl or something like that. But we have so many weird little side notes here that maybe they're all glimpses of memories for him about her. Maybe there's words that are, like trigger words for him that remind him of her, or there's something here just about, we haven't talked in so long, so all I have is my memories. That's what I would say is going through the King of Cups head right now. And God, it's just so much time has passed, but it's still Four of Wands. After all this time, she's still the person I want to marry. It doesn't matter how many clocks pass. It doesn't matter how I keep time. She is always her. I would jump into her arms. I would leap. If she reached out to me, I would be there in an instant. I would jump to be with her. So why are you not with her? Why the silence? And why, when you've loved her for so long? Princess of Coins. And I have to say, up here we have a kind of an interesting calendar here up at the top, almost like if you've seen like the Wheel of the Year calendar, that's like the Druidic, or I can't think of the other name I'm looking for, but it's reminiscent of that for me, because it looks like it's a lunar cycle that's being tracked. It's a different kind of calendar. Now, I don't know if that means something to her, but when I ask, why are you not with her? Princess of Coins is like, there wasn't much of an offer made, but then we have the tracking of time going on up here. And that makes me think of like divine timing, perhaps. She has all these coins up around her forehead. I don't know if that had something to do with her career. Maybe she wasn't wanting to build, or maybe she was wanting to build something very specific. And it's like, well, if you want to be with me, here's what it is. Because she got all this fruit up here, and we see farmers down here. She may have wanted, like, I want something really serious right away. Maybe he wasn't ready for something serious. And now it's like, oh my God, how did I let her slip through my fingers? She wanted to plant a future. She had all of these long-term goals. She wanted us to build, I don't know, maybe she wanted to have a fruit orchard together or something. Maybe she's, plants things by the light of the moon. I mean, the reason, the full moon cycle is so important is, well, one of the many reasons is it was oftentimes used for indicators about, when to plant and what to plant. A lot of the full moon names that we have, for example, come from Native Americans, and they named it for either the things that you plant, or the things to watch for in nature, or the fish that you're catching, or when it's the right time, whatever the animals migrate. Like, all the names meant something that had to do usually with resources, with food, or to signify different things that were important within, the culture. This is the time of the year that we do such and such, or harvest this, or even like participate in certain rituals. And maybe she is more connected to that. Like, it was the time of her life that she really wanted to begin building something, and she had long-term goals, even though it's like maybe they had just met and she was already very serious. And yeah, and he was like, it's not the right time. So he may have backed out, even though now she's the one that he's like, oh my God, if only I could. There was something about signaling. She signaled very clearly, like, I was ready. Also, I don't know if somebody does pole dancing. That could have been her. I just see the pole back here. She could have been quite, flexible, acrobatic. I'm here and I'm in love with a stripper. I haven't heard that song in so long. That was played on the radio nonstop, and I never hear that song. That Wheel of Fortune in the reverse, not the right time. It just wasn't the right time. The alignment was wrong. That's I think the reason he didn't build with her. And yet for her, it was like the alignment's just right. I'm looking at my lunar cycle. That could also make me think maybe she was thinking about wanting to have children or something. And it was like, oh no, I definitely don't want to do that. What's weird though? Instead of me thinking that he was saying, oh, I'm not ready yet, I almost think this is him saying, I was past that point. I didn't want that. I'd already done all that, and I didn't want that again. I'm just going to say what I think. This would have been like, she immediately wanted long-term, wanted to talk about long-term. was dating for marriage, and he was like, I've already been married. I don't want to do it again. I don't know why I get that, because normally I wouldn't read that card that way, but I guess because of that blooming rose, like it's already bloomed, like I already did that and I don't want to do that again. So you should go find somebody else to marry, maybe have a kid with, maybe build your life with, buy a house with. Hey, I don't want to be tied down. I'm thinking that's what it was for him once upon a time. And if he's spending a lot of time rereading her old letters and thinking about, my God, this was, I mean, I would do anything now. If she wanted me now, this has to have been at least 4 years ago, because I see 4 of him leaping. So maybe he's been wishing he had been with her for these last 4 years, which would mean that this is a long time ago. It makes sense considering that that letter is all, yellowed and burned up. Okay, we have an Ace of Swords upright. Somebody is in the book of life, and I'm going to say he's got to be at least in his 50s into his 60s. I say it partially because of what he looks like, but mostly because look at how far he is. He's more than halfway through his book of life. So, I'm going to say he's got to be past 50, even if it's only a couple pages past 50, 51, 54, somewhere he's between 50 and 60. I don't think he'd be much older than like 61-ish, 62, but I think he's just over 50 by just a bit. And I almost feel like now he's ready for his next like significant chapter of life. So I'm wondering if she met him like he had been married, divorced, maybe had only been single for like a year or two and was like, I'm not getting married again. And then after, 4 more years without her, now it's like, oh my God, I'm at a whole different chapter of my life. I want this. You know what I'm going to say? I feel like she met him when he was, think of if you're reading a book, right? And you're reading and, usually chapter breaks are at a natural point, right? But what if he wasn't done with that first chapter of like, I lived this life, I had this marriage, I then divorced, I'm getting over the tail end of that and reclaiming my identity, and I meet her, but I haven't fully reclaimed my identity yet. So that chapter of my life, that closure isn't done yet. But then I meet her and I'm like, oh no, that's fine. I don't want anything with you because you want something serious. So you can't be in this chapter. Well, no, because he hadn't started his next chapter yet. Look, I don't think this was to be mean. I think now he's in a whole different mindset, though, for sure. Here's the pen and it's got all these vines growing around it. And I think it's because he's wanted to be with her for quite some time now. He's wearing sunglasses and either kind of, it looks like a beret. So it could be military somehow, or maybe just like maybe he's French, or maybe there's a jaunty, stylish look that he likes. His glasses, he either wears glasses or wears sunglasses a lot, or aviators. Maybe he's a flyer. Or maybe this person's blind. That could be as well. Or that could signify that somebody recently had like LASIK on their eyes and is healing. Or that they are looking at their life with something more than their eyes now. That's maybe the better way to say. Aries has something to say. Hi, guys. Jacasta, nice to see you. Linda, Angie, Leo, Queen, Hippie Chick, Hallelujah. Ronnie, Diary. Hi, babe. So nice to see everybody. Squish Fish. Hey, sweetie. Supernova. Oh, my God. That's amazing. Supernova. Okay, hang on. I got to cover this up just a little bit. This is that 5 of Cups, and we have rain and we have grief, and I'm hearing Milli Vanilli, blame it on the rain that was fallen. Whatever you do, don't put the blame on you. Gosh, he remembers her topless, by the way. That's why I have to cover her up a little bit. And I will say that on this card, she has like a pasty on. So again, I don't know, maybe she did. Maybe she was a dancer. Look, I see nothing wrong with that. I just have to cover it because it's YouTube and I can't show nudity. So I've got stripper friends and I support them fully. You do you, boo. I am very much about freedom of expression, freedom of self, freedom of a woman's body, picking what she wants to do and how she wants to display or not display herself. Modesty or whatever, it's up to you. I see nothing wrong with the human body. So just a caveat to say everybody should feel welcome here and not judged. But this comes across like I still have to cover it. There is grief, there is sorrow. This also would say to me, she has really shown her heart before to him. And I will say the pasty she's wearing is actually heart shaped, even though I can't show it. So I'm going to say that she was very like honest with him. She really loved him. He remembers that. And with all the words that we have here, she may have said words like, I'm definitely grieving the fact that we're not going to be together. And here he is back here. We see his face younger there. So I wonder if he's aged suddenly quite a bit. Here he's clean shaven. As the King of Cups, he has a beard, but we also saw him here looking older. And I'm just wondering if he's suddenly aged quite a bit. She doesn't seem to have. She looks very youthful. She does every time we see her. So maybe she was a little bit younger than him. If they met when he was in his, like somewhere in his 40s, she was in her 30s, that still may have seemed like like he's had whatever, 8 years of life experience or something on her. All I can say is that she comes across as a bit younger than him, but she clearly said something to him about in her letter. The letters that he likes to reread or maybe the letters that make him love her more, is the fact that I think she was very transparent. I don't think she hid anything. Whenever I see a character without a shirt on, I always think that they're being very like, this was my heart. I showed you the real me. I gave you my heart. I didn't hide anything. And I do feel like those are the letters he's reading. But one of them in particular had something to do with the word grief or grieving that she wrote to him. 7 of Swords. And again, all of this writing, all of this script. I can't read this because it's not in English. It may be Arabic. I don't know. It may also not be a language at all because it's, this is an artistic deck. So, but with the 7 of Swords, she also called him out for lying. That was a big, big letter that she wrote. That was a big letter. And I don't know if he understood what she meant about that. So he's rereading a multitude of letters. I'm literally picturing him like going through and reading messages, emails. There was one really long one here that she, I think, gave him what for. And I don't know that he ever either fully read it or fully like took it in. Because I'm hearing that song by Devochka. You wrote me letters that I didn't read. Ain't it too bad? I missed you so much. Brazilian Sea amazes me. I can't think of the title of the song right now, but love Devochka. We've got the 10 of Coins. I think he's understanding those words now. She called him out for lying through his teeth about something. And it could be, she called him out and said, you acted like you wanted to build with me. If you want to be, there's literally the word be up here. If you wanted to be with me, you should have been offering me something, or you should have stayed away from me. But you don't get to do both. You don't get to try to say that. There's a word prosperity is here as well. I don't know. Something about her, I think she called him a liar. I think she said, you're making me grieve you, but it was also a lie, wasn't it? Oh, is that what it was? It was a lie that you ever were offering me anything. You let me think you were, but that was a lie. You didn't mean it, huh? There's that moon up there that I wasn't paying attention to. That's what it was. We have a couple of crosses up here as well. And I'm just wondering if she didn't say something about like, if we're going to bring up crosses and we think about, God, good and evil, like she may have said, like, this is a terrible thing that you did. You lied to me. You acted like you wanted me. And then you didn't mean it though. I feel like she must have been hurt, angry, felt like she'd been lied to, but especially about this. Can I get one more on that 10 of Coins? Okay, so he's rereading like all of this right now. 4 of Coins. It definitely ended up with her saying, so you can't have me. You can't have any more of my energy. I withdraw now. You knew all I wanted to do was to build with someone, and you let me think that that's what you were going to do, but you didn't mean it. So you wasted my time, or, something here was very unfair because you lied to me and you knew you were lying. She definitely called him out. What are you thinking as you're rereading that letter? Because it says you like didn't understand what she was saying because it's all written in a different language. And so I'm wondering if she Seven of Wands. What is he thinking as he's reading it? There's this he knows she's like fencing, right? And fencing is quite a fabulous sport. I had a friend of mine that was a great fencer, and he he took me to his fencing classes. I was like, oh my god, it was so physical, it was so intense. But yeah, I didn't wind up becoming a fencer, but he was great. But with that the Seven of Wands, this is like she, as I reread it, I'm seeing how she set herself free. She was very poetic too, because we have music up here. I think he thinks she's great with her words. As he's rereading even the angry message or the message where she called him out, even though it didn't make sense at the time, he's realizing, man, she knew just where to score points with everything she said. And then she set herself free right here. It was like, and here she is like throwing her arms out. She's, this flaming goddess in front of this gigantic heart. And he's saying, man, and there's a letter again, the pieces of the letter. She said things to him that either he wasn't ready to understand about himself, hear about himself, but she went for, I'm not going to say she went for the jugular to be mean, because remember, in fencing, you're scoring points. You're not actually hurting the person. But she, like, I don't think he could have argued a bit with her, because I think her points were like, bam, 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 bam. This is what you did, and that's the only reason you would have done that, because if this, you wouldn't have done that. I feel like she argued like a lawyer in this letter, and then eventually still said, I loved you freely, and all I can do is let you go. Let myself go. Let myself move on. That's the thing that he's understanding now. She called him out, good and proper, and she did it with a certain panache. I think she's great with words, and I think she also has a certain amount of pride. We do see two peacock feathers, but I almost think that he was impressed. Like, rereading it now, he's like, God damn. She hit every point. She scored every point in that. Not that it was a point thing, but it's a fencing, image. So Mark's Machine. Hi, honey. Nice to see you. You're so awesome. Thank you. Oh, that was a weird sound. Hi, Jenna. Sorry, guys. There was some big boom outside. I'm not sure what that was. It sounded like a little, it sounded like a big backfire, to be honest. Sorry, my baby heard it too. With the Queen of Cups, you know what's so crazy? His big takeaway from rereading all of her letters, the angry ones, the hurt ones, the grieving ones, the ones where she literally like decimated his actions and told him off in no uncertain terms, while still telling him freely that she had loved him, but she loves herself enough to move on. You know what he's getting out of it? My God, she loved me. That Queen of Cups, she said every word that was so true. This woman loved me. She loved me more than I've ever been loved. And she loved me with something steady and something true. I'm hearing so many songs right now. Here I am, rock me like a hurricane. Don't ask me why. And then, of course, she loves me like a rock. Paul Simon. There's something about like the way she loved him. She's artistic for sure. He's very impressed with her. And you notice how the angels are over here, like putting a little crown on her. Like, I don't know. I feel like what she wrote was so complete. There was no ambiguity. There was nothing there that didn't show what her heart meant, what her mind meant, what her lips meant. All of it was completely cohesive. And it was the story of a woman who loved him completely without reservation, and also could leave him and sail on because he wasn't up to the task of loving her back. That's simple. And I think that collection of messages, it's wild that he's like saying, this was my true partner. Other than him reading all of this and understanding this now and wishing for it now, I don't know what that's going to do, but I can say this. If she told you in all those letters goodbye and told you exactly why it's goodbye and did a point by point breakdown and every word that she said was true, she ain't coming back because she already said everything that was correct and she already gave you her heart and you didn't reciprocate. So there's nothing more for her to do. So I would just argue, at least the way he's described her, right? There's nothing more for her to say. So if he's going to talk to her again, it will be on his motive. Can I just go back and ask real quickly, what's the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse? Like, I don't know. I just got this strong vibe that he didn't want to ever be in like a serious commitment again, is how it came across to me, but maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, we have Princess of Wands, which is like the Page of Wands, and we have 10 miles per hour on this sign here. And we have somebody, turning their back and only halfway is paying attention. He even didn't want her to be too much in his life. He wanted to go real slow, wanted to have some attraction, wanted to have somebody he could text late at night when he was lonely or bored, or somebody to talk to on his terms, but not ask anything of him. And go real, real, real slow. We're not going to talk like we're in a relationship. We're just kind of hanging out, or you're kind of just somebody pretty cool. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm only rolling my eyes because you were more grown up than that. I mean, you were at a more mature age character. In this storyline, I should have called this like a specific love story, but I didn't know it was going to get so detailed. I didn't know so many things were going to jump out at me. She may have a tattoo on the back of her right shoulder, or she's had some mole removals, in which case we actually have 4. She can also have something with her spine. She either has like amazing posture or she has a curvature to her spine and still just carries herself with so much grace. But it could also just be that, damn, she's got a backbone. He could also have loved her back. Like she could just have a really beautiful back in his mind. But I also think there's a lot of respect here for her backbone. I do feel like he knows that she was somebody quite, powerful. I don't know if she wore her hair up a lot, but we see her like that in most of the cards where we see her. So, here it is up and she has like an abundance of hair. Here it's up when she's fencing. Here it's up on the 4 of Coins where she's withdrawing. Here it's up when he's looking at the back of her. I don't know if he has like distinct memories of like showering with her, bathing with her, something like that. And just thought she had a really pretty neck, shoulders, back. 10 of Cups. All of this, because I was asking, what is that 10 of Wands in the reverse, or excuse me, sorry, the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse. And it's like, yeah, I only wanted a very, very light level of connection with her. And she wanted the full blown 10 of Cups. That's what she wanted. 10 of Cups. She wanted the family, the baby. There we go again with the farming. She wanted to build something, grow something, make an empire, put forces together, put money together, buy a house together. She wanted all of it. You know what? There's nothing wrong with somebody who is saying like, hey, I'm just lightheartedly dating. But my problem with this story is that it seems as if she felt like he wasted some of her time. Because I don't know why she would have been bent out of shape. If you meet somebody and it's like, hey, who cares? Who cares when there's this energy of, like if somebody says right from the gate, I'm not looking for anything, that's okay. People, if she hadn't been looking for anything serious, that would have been fine. So I'm guessing she thought that they were lying. Let me just ask, because we had that 7 of Swords. Let me just go back. And on her side, is that how you assume this? Oh yeah, the Devil. Jeez. We got the 9 of Wands in the reverse. Again, all that script written across here. And the Devil here. She says he intentionally tried to mess with my head, get me attached to him, make me fall for him. Thought he had a right to do that. Lied to me. Tried to get me chained to this connection, but didn't want anything more with me. And I don't know if she, with all those names I don't know if this is notches on bedposts, right? Or a whole bunch of bedposts. She didn't exactly say, and I know he was out there cheating and sleeping. She doesn't say that. She just says he wanted to chain me. Maybe he wasn't so toxic that he had a bunch of people he did this to, but he wanted that with me. He wanted my time, and he wanted to know that I was somehow like there at home waiting for him, or he could be wherever, but I'd always be there to answer the phone, and then he wouldn't have to be lonely. He could text when he wanted, have somebody to talk to, but offer me nothing but keep me strung along, keep me hooked, keep me chained to him. I don't know if somebody has like, black and white scale image or etchings or, artwork or something. This isn't yin yang, but it's a little like that. I almost feel like for some reason, I don't know if she is somebody who's really good with dealing with energy flow. And so she was very aware of this. She could tell when her energy was being like drained. That could have something to do with her being like, when I think of yin yang, I think of like the balancing of energy, and if something gets out of balance, you're getting, the yin yang symbol is, the black and white, right? And it's like, but if you went 3/4 of the way to the black and, the rest of it's white, that's not the yin yang symbol anymore. And I'm just wondering if she could really tell pretty immediately what stunt they were pulling, trying to trick me into thinking I'm getting equal when I know that I'm not. Because for her to say they were a liar and toxic, it makes me think they were trying to get things on their terms without being upfront about it. Like dodging conversation about like the future or what they were going to do or how they were, what do you want versus what do I want? It almost seems like they were dodging that. King of Cups, I don't know, is that part of what happened? We have the Eight of Cups upright. They definitely didn't want her to walk away. So I would say yes, trying to make things murky. I don't know if they lived in a different area, so they were using that as an example. Well, I'm busy working, when really it was just like, I just want her to be around for me when I want somebody to talk to. You know what? In all honesty, I don't know that he was like ready for any kind of a relationship whatsoever at the time, but he did like want to preserve her. Probably because he really liked her energy. He liked how she treated him. He wanted to be able, how like, let me put it in this context. When we go out into the world and we move away from home, if we're close to a family member of, oftentimes it's our mom, we are busy and we're doing our own life, but then we have a sad day at work and you know what? We want to call our mom. But the rest of the time, we're not thinking about our mom because we don't think about what our mom needs from us. We're whatever, 18, we're 22, we're living our, as an adult for the first time. We're out there, creating our own life. But when we suddenly need somebody, we want to call mom or whomever might be a touchstone in our life. And it's a very much, kind of the same way we were when we were toddlers. Toddlers are like, mommy gives me what I need. Mommy gives me milk. Mommy gives me juice, and it's about me. That's the person who gives to me. And I like that person. And when I need them, I want from them. And it's a one-way street. I feel like that is a little bit of the mentality here. I'm not saying they wanted a mother. I'm just saying that they wanted somebody to be there for them when it was convenient for them without giving and without them having to think about somebody needing something from them. And I with the stamp here, it looks like they were at a distance. With the piece of the, the map here, it looks like they were at a distance. There we go again with, wings. So I don't know if they flew or something, but they didn't want to lose her. They didn't want her to walk away. So it was like, I can use distance as an excuse as to why I can't really be around, why, I can't offer more than this. But I think she caught on to it pretty fast. Like, yeah, that's not actually going to be an excuse. Maybe they even wanted to meet somebody that didn't live in their area on purpose so that they would always be able to say, I have someone. I can even maybe say I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but I don't have to be around them because I don't really want to have to give to anybody. But I want them to always wait to pick up the phone and be so happy to hear my voice when I call. And I think she was real quick to call them out on this. That's how it comes across to me. Okay. So at this point, a lot has changed, right? They're older now. They're sitting here rereading all this. They want very much a king and a queen of cups. So they're now ready for something. And they're rereading all of her letters. And the torch that they have for her is very much alive, but there is zero communication, and it has been a long freaking time, and there's no way in hell she is writing to them again. So at this point, the only thing left is you can either sit there on the bedroom floor and read through your phone and read through the texts and remind yourself of how great it was that she loved you so much, as she also calls you kind of a scoundrel in those messages, or you can do something. We have the sun. He's like, yes, I know. I wonder if he's up all night. I'm hearing that song. I'm up all night to get some. We're up all night to get lucky. The high priestess, and here's the moon. Overhead. I definitely feel like he is up all night thinking heavily about her, rereading every line, every detail. That song by Elvis, I memorized every line, and I kiss the name that you sign, and darling, then I read again, right from the start, love letters straight from your heart. He's not the only one who sang it, but Elvis does a really beautiful, like soft version of that song that is just so beautiful. I see all the lines on this card. Also, let's not forget our sun is very active right now. There's a lot of energy, like, projecting at Earth. And it's so crazy because as much as he's up all night, I think reading these letters, I think again and again and again, and getting more clarity, it's actually making him happier. But it almost seems like every time he rereads it and is like sitting in her energy, I don't know if she's picking up on it or what, but that's what it looks like to me. Like she is like, maybe his name is starting to like, tap, tap, tap in her mind or something. And it's because he keeps reading and rereading and reading and rereading her letters. And she's getting the memo. She's getting the messages right now. Oh, as a side note, somebody said they were looking forward to Taurus. I did put out a Taurus video right before I came over here. So if you guys are looking for Taurus, Taurus has a new video out tonight. So does Capricorn, so does Leo, so does Scorpio, and so does Libra. Those are all done on the other channel already. So just FYI, I got to remember to tell you guys that because I promised you I'd put those out. Prince of Cups, sideways. This is crazy because we got the little baby cherubs floating around up here. I mean, this is like the I'm sorry message. By the way, I don't know if somebody really likes like Italian Renaissance art. And I'm not sure if here she is again associated with the moon. It could, every time we see her, not every time, but we've seen her twice, heavily associated with moon and lunar cycles. And I'm almost wondering if, I mean, we're not around a full moon right now, but I'm wondering if, I think February 1st is our next full moon. So we're really only 2 weeks out from that. I don't know if she somehow is like, you see her lighting candles and stuff. She may, if he's up all night rereading stuff, but she may have a hard time sleeping tonight, but she may have had a hard time sleeping since our last full moon. And it could be, it's because between last, the full moon and then our next full moon, this is when all this is playing out. So I'm wondering if this is almost like a 28-day like experience where like he's wrapping his head around things, he's digesting old letters, he's thinking about where he's at, he's thinking about, in this case, an apology that would need to be given, and she's here kind of like somehow sitting in this energy, aware that his mind or his name keeps tapping. I don't know why I want to put it in that context. That little symbol or little sign above this is High Priestess. I almost feel like she's going to start seeing his name, whatever his name is, like on a banner, on a business, on a food item, whatever this is. It's like, I think his name is going to start popping up. Maybe more freaky would be her name and his somewhere, or, like almost an acronym of it, or, something where it's like, oh, those are all the letters of both of our names. That's so weird. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe to spell out High Priestess, maybe that has some of their names in it, H's and P's and R's, I's, E's, S, T's, I's, whatever, G's. We have a King of Swords and we have the Strength card. He is starting to write. He is starting to write the apology. He is starting to write, and I don't know if he's picking up a pen and doing it yet or if it's in his head first, but we can see. I always look at this like it reminds me of like Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast. This part, like two eyeballs, a long nose, a little mustache, and a little mouth here. Even though I know I shouldn't see it that way, but that's always what I look at when I look at this card. Instead, it's the Libra scales here with these arms holding up the crown up above and the sword of truth in the middle. But for some reason, I always look at it that way. They are busily writing, as you can see, and they're writing about what has changed for them. They're writing perhaps, again, based off of some tremendous happiness, but they're so clear now on, also we have the map of the world behind him as well, or behind the lion rather. And you notice how huge the lion is. This is definitely our masculine is going to be stepping in and writing what they need to write to her. And it could be all the words that they should have said to her before. It could be everything that, it's going to be very blunt. It's going to be very straightforward, but it's also about what has changed. It's about what they want. It's not just an apology. It's like a full, I almost feel like they're going blow by blow, like they've got her letters to them beside them and they are responding to it piece by piece is how this feels. Because it's going to be like practically a book. That's how this comes across. I don't know if they're usually this verbose, but they're going to be this time. Because remember that card, where she was fencing and it was like, man, the way she writes or the way she speaks, she hit every single note that it was warranted. And I almost feel like they're going to take it piece by piece and respond piece by piece. Did you ever respond to any of the things that she said? Because I'm sorry, I got to ask that. We have got the Queen of Pentacles here. Honestly, you notice how intricate, how interwoven all this is. You see all of the, high details. And then remember when we were talking about this before, and I'm like, I think he was like totally befuddled. It was like everything that she said was a foreign language to him at one point. I don't think he would have known how to begin to respond in the past. Especially the only way he could have responded is if, she called him out on everything, right? And if that's the truth, he wasn't looking for anything and she called him out for all of it, then the only response he would have had was like, I'm sorry, you're right. Or you're incorrect. I do want all of that with you. So I feel like the only way he could have responded to her in the past was with a detailed, explanation, a piece by piece, blow by blow response to her. But it was that or nothing. Anything less than that, she wouldn't have wanted anything. She wouldn't have been willing to read it anyway. She wouldn't have been willing to absorb this or give him the time of day, because I think she already said everything that was actually spot on. It was very true. So I don't think he ever responded to her in the past. Prince of Swords sideways. That Prince of Swords. And we see again the map, and we see the key that might open the door, and we see, somebody, this is like gathering information. This is trying to figure things out. I really feel like this is, him writing with great thought and hoping that he finds the right words that will make the doorway open again, or that will, I'm going to say touch her heart, because here she is, this time a little covered, but it's like, it's my time that I have to show her my entire heart, but I have to do it by first letting her know I understood every word that she said. And I have to actually try to bridge that gap. I have to meet her on her side now. I don't see him sending this yet. I see him working on this. And like I said, it could be like a 28-day process. We have the Two of Swords. She's not going to expect this at all. She turned her back. It's not that she slammed, gateways closed. It's just that she's turned her back to that a long time ago. Even here with the perspective, we see like down these long corridors of trees. We see, looking out to sea, and that's not where her attention is. Her attention is full steam ahead, and she's kind of like monocular now, right? She's got just one, she has like an eye patch, or she's got one eye closed. In order to, focus, right? If we're looking through, spyglass or something, it's oftentimes so that we can focus more completely. And I almost think that she's got other things, other fish to fry. In her mind, that's a closed door, even though technically those doors are not closed off. It's just, it's behind her. It's in her past. So she won't see this coming. This will be something that would be a surprise. She may not even notice if they are like emailing it or something. She may not see it for quite some time because she's busy with other things. We have a Prince of Coins, and we have, the horse is falling apart here, right? It's I gotta say, if once he sends this, if she doesn't get it sometime soon, holy smokes, it's going to feel like an eternity for him. And his hope that he could somehow say and respond to her, in a way that might make her want to, connect to him again, is like crumbling by the hour, is what it seems like. Every hour that passes is a heartbreak. He's fallen apart. Well, what do you think it was like for her? I'm sorry, but she's not even doing this to be mean. You actually intentionally did that. I'm sorry. I'm not a real fan of these two getting back together, even though, it doesn't look like he was necessarily thinking he was trying to be cruel, but it feels like to not respond because everything she said was true, that somehow is worse because you didn't even say sorry. Like, all of that gives a pretty sour note to this in my mind. Even though it's like, oh my God, I love her and I'm rereading all this and I feel so great. I don't know why she would ever feel great about you, though. I'm sorry. That sounds really rude. But we have the Fool sideways. We have the Two of Wands sideways. And we have the Judgment sideways. And maybe that's what's sinking in for him. How dumb could I be? How foolish could I be to think that I'm going to write her now and she's going to be like, yay. Oh, thank goodness. Here's that map again. How foolish is this, that I would think me writing her a letter, or even a letter that's as long as a book, is going to make her want to open up the door or the window of her heart to me again. Would she really want to reconcile with me, especially after I respond to everything? I mean, maybe it all depends on how she feels. It all depends on, whatever he wrote. And he could be thinking and feeling very foolish because he's got a jester's hat on. Maybe the things that I wrote are ridiculous too. Maybe I've taken the wrong approach. Maybe the words that I said are just nonsense. It kind of feels like, I don't know, the expectation that she's going to somehow swiftly respond and give you satisfaction of, you don't even have to wait. It's like, that's the expectation. It's like, I want to hear from her immediately. I'm sure you do, but that doesn't look like the way that's gonna go. Final messages here. Queen of Swords upright. Queen of Wands upright. When she does get it, she's going to have mixed emotions. You see, here she is kind of with that third eye open here. And it's probably because, remember, we saw her as a high priestess, where it's like, for some reason, I thought like his name kept showing up. I kept thinking about him. That's all that murkiness. Now I get it. I was sensing him. But apparently I can trust my intuition. But now she's doing the pearl clutch here. And we see her kind of like, oh my God, he's writing to me piece by piece, explaining things, trying to ask me more or less for my heart again. It's funny how she's like distracted. I think she's going to be really distracted. Don't drive this day if you can avoid it, feminine, because she's not paying attention to what she's pouring even into this. She could like mess up a dish of food that she's making, whatever it calls for, cinnamon, and she throws in a bunch of, whatever, paprika or chili or something. She's not paying any attention because she's so like drifted off. Like, I can't believe this person is writing to ask me now for my heart. I mean, on one hand, it's like surreal. I can't believe I'm hearing from them. But it's even weirder what they're asking me for. They want my heart now. Okay. Two of coins. The two of coins has these gears, and these gears could either mesh together or gears can grind if they don't really fit together, right? And there's something here where you notice how I think this is such an interesting card because we don't actually have a reversal necessarily, but we do have two distinct different colors, right? And I mean, maybe we could say this isn't a plug though. It's not like, you know, how on a plug you have like the male or the female component. This is gears. So it's ridges that have to fit together, you know, like teeth. And so it's like it doesn't matter which side you look at it, it's still teeth. And I just wonder if she's saying things are so different now. I mean, they were indecisive. They didn't know if they wanted much with me. Well, they knew that they really didn't, but now they're asking me to have answers or something. Six of Swords. This could be the moment that she goes, I either want to not have any conflict with them. So I got to listen to my higher self. Either I respond to them, or if my heart still does want them, I'm not going to pretend that I don't. Or I say, this feels like something I need to walk away from for my peace of mind. And I really don't know what she's going to pick. We've got a 10 of Wands, and this 10 of Wands has her like wearing one of the clay masks, you know, to take out like impurities. You know, if you've gone to like a mud bath or you put on the, you know, the facial mask to, you know, like make your skin detox. You know, and this is that 10 of Wands. This is her saying, I thought I had laid this down. I thought I had pulled out all the impurities. I thought I didn't have to think about this anymore. And it's stressing me out to think about this again. Something she thought she'd put behind her is now stirred back up when she receives this message. And we have that Justice card. Look, I don't know what her answer is going to be because she's in two different minds of this. Either I could say something to them, but honestly, all this time they never said anything to me. Do I really owe them some peace of mind? You know, they're ruining my peace of mind right now because I genuinely thought I had moved on. So now do I have to move on a second time? Or do I have to think about this and reconsider? You know, it feels like this is really going to stir things up for her. Getting this letter is really going to stir things up for her and possibly distress her and possibly bother her. We have a Prince of Wands here. And again, all of these letters on here, Cadamia, Delegno, I don't know, that we have kind of like what seems like more Italian names or something, but she's kind of wondering, is this, you know, this is like, she looks at almost like minimal effort still. Is this just them testing the waters to see like, oh, here, I'll shoot my shot. I'll send this message. Hell, did they send it out to 5 other people? Is this them just seeing who takes the bite? She really has a pretty poor opinion of this situation. So their letter doesn't really be like, oh, that's so heartfelt. It's more like, wow, this is rocking me because I got to figure out what I'm going to do about this. Princess of Swords in the reverse, she may actually choose to say, I'm not going to answer anything until I know what to say. I'm in no rush. I don't want to think about this for a minute because it's stressing me out and I don't want to make any decision when I feel stressed. So I'm just going to step away and let my mind, you know, not deal with this for a bit. King of Wands. Especially if she feels like this, if there's any aspect of this that makes her think that this was not big enough, heartfelt enough, significant enough, if it didn't sound like it was coming from a king, if it sounded to her like it came from a page, that might be the real reason she's like, I'm not responding to anybody who writes me something like this. They come across as a page, and, you know, obviously everything that already happened, even if they wrote me a big, huge letter, if it feels like I was dealing with a page in the past, I can't see them as a king. They would probably have to say something to change her mind that would make her see them as a king. Otherwise, I don't see her responding. I certainly see her leaving it and not reacting until so that she's not stressed out. I don't see her responding at all until she can do so without stress. So I don't know, maybe they did write it in a loving way that'll sound like a King of Wands. I don't know though. I still see them sitting out here so uncomfortable and stressing so hard over, will she respond? Will she respond? And every day it gets more parched, and every day it feels more lonely. And Hierophant is here. Look, she's not trying to stress him out. She's just trying to not stress herself out. And she's trying to think about it like, who do I want to give my energy to? They already had a shot with me, but they acted like a page. They're saying sorry, or they're saying all these things, but are they contacting me as a King of Wands? Like, I don't know if they're making an overture enough. They may finally have it click in their head. Oh my God, I may have explained a bunch of stuff from the past, but I'm sensing she doesn't know that I was trying to say more than that at this point. Suddenly their third eye clicks on. I'm wondering if that's it, if that's the point. She's not going to respond when they still haven't, given more. We have a Princess of Cups. I do see them reaching out a second time with, if nothing else, a very big apology. I got to say, I'm sorry for the way I wrote things. I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for the way this went. I'm sorry that I wasn't mature back then. I'm sorry. It feels like that might have been the missing component, and that's the reason she wasn't going to be responding. Oh my God. Thank you guys so, so much. Shauna, thank you, Angel. Shauna1313 just gifted 10 memberships. You guys, welcome everyone whose name just turned green. That is all courtesy of Shauna. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Lyrical Galactic, Bexina Warrior, Sarah Carr, Bogdanka, John Stelmack, Sarah Pritchard, 404 The Glitch, La Luna, Musile. Sorry, I can't read the rest of the name and do justice to it. I apologize for that. Kintsugi Warrior 22, Martha Stocks. You guys are all members, courtesy of Shauna. You were so kind. Thank you a million times over, Shauna. And welcome everyone whose name I just listed. That is all courtesy of Shauna. That means you guys all have access to the members videos now that we put out every Monday. There's a members playlist for you as well. With that Four of Cups, this looks, it looks honestly like it sinks in for them when they don't hear back from her. I should have been... So there's a great song by the Mavericks. May Raoul rest in peace. Amazing voice. Oh my God. This song is called I Should Have Been True. I should have been blue. I shouldn't wonder why you're gone. I should have known that I was wrong. Your eyes, your lips, your touch, I'll miss. It's a beautiful song. It's got this really slow, like cha-cha to it. Oh, love the Mavericks. But this feels like the thing that they didn't say in that very lengthy letter of explanation is, I regret this, I regret that. You notice that they are in every single cup here. I should have said point by point, this is what I would have done different. This is my regret with you. I regret the way I treated you. I regret the fact that I blew it with somebody that I really loved, or I regret the fact that every year I could have reached out to you and didn't. I regret that it took me so long. She needed to hear a hell of a lot more than just, hey, I want you now. And I'm not saying that's what their letter said. I'm just saying it was missing these critical components, is what they have finally recognized when they don't hear from her and they're getting more stressed out by the day. But she said, this is shit. They write me some craptastic thing, mess up my peace when I put them behind me. I'm not trying to, they're coming at me like a page. No, thank you. You can't even write me like a king. It feels like it was more of a disrespect for her to have her peace shaken by them, and they didn't say the things that they should have, and they didn't think about it until they don't hear from her. And then it's like, oh my God, the things I didn't include in that letter. I do see them writing once more to say all those things because of what we have here. And that might be the end of it, or maybe now she'll open up and talk to them, but I do not see her wanting to talk to them otherwise. King of Coins. That might be where she goes, they finally actually offered me real, explanation, and really made me feel like they were seeing me as a person. that is the open sesame. That is the magic wand. If you want me to talk to you, treat me like someone, you know? We got a Four of Swords. We got the Ace of Cups sideways. This does not mean she's like, yay, I love you now. But I think that she needed to hear, had they grown at all? Because we see this tree of life with these, babies growing in the tree, and the Four of Swords, again, with four. Four is the number in this. Like, it's been 4 years. And that with that Four of Cups and, the 4 mugs that they were in. And there was a lot here that needed to be proven that they had grown, because in the past, they didn't want anything serious, and yet they wanted her time. And that was something like she really called them out for, but they still weren't really speaking to her like they were offering something in that letter. And what she was looking for was that you need to be offering me something huge, significant, stable, and something that would make my heart heal, because that might have hurt me. But I also got to know, did you grow at all from this? Or are you the same old person who's just like, okay, want you now? That's not a grown up. I did all that. Yeah. But now I want you. So, okay, ready? Like, no. Look, I'm not saying she's in love with them. She's definitely not like saying I'm going to fall in love with them. But she is saying, finally, I heard something that would make me communicate to them and maybe open up some sliver of my heart again. That's what I would say. Three of Swords. They maybe had to acknowledge that was very painful. And it's weird because we have like the just married. We see like a car bumper with all of these tassels and stuff. I don't know how bad this was. If they had said something like they wanted to get married and then that was bull, but there was some very deep heartbreak over specifically the topic of like marriage. And that all had to be addressed too. The Lovers, if they had wanted to stay single just so they could keep dating other people, that could have really stung, And it's like, oh, okay. That, of course, that would be something that stings. So all that had to be, addressed as well. And the only way to address it and maybe make that change is like for them to say, she is the person that they would want to give everything they've got to. And if they also needed to address, it wasn't like I was going out trying to date everybody else. It was that I wasn't ready for any serious connection, like, period. She may need to know the answer to this. So when you try to get me and that didn't work, did you just go on to 6 other people? Because I don't see her taking them back, which I know is like, okay, but hey, they didn't want to be hers. She wasn't theirs. So, hey, they're free to do whatever they want. Yes. But if she's going to consider taking them back, this seems to be a pretty important thing to understand. Were you just out sleeping with so many people, and now that you've, checked all those names off your list, now you want to settle and you're coming back to me, you're all used up, burned out, and been with everybody in town, and now you want me? Because I don't see that working. And as much as it might be like that could be painful for me to know the answer to, I still think she needs to know the answer. I think that's what she's saying in response. 8 of Coins is sideways. She's still kind of, you see the script on the Tree of Life, and she's opening up this book. I still think she's asking herself really heavily, regardless of their answer, do I want to try to build or grow? Do I want to invest any time, even back and forth communication with this person? Do I want them back? Am I prepared to find out whatever the answer is? I don't think she wants somebody who's been all over and is burned out. They slept with, how many different people, and now they're ready to come back and sleep with her. Like, I don't see her wanting that. Look, if she does, no judgment, who cares? Like, we don't own each other. You go do what you need to do. But I also think it's fair for her to say, yeah, and guess what? I have a right to like what I like and dislike what I dislike, so either way, it's just up to her. I don't want to sound like I'm making an opinion call in this. The 7 of Cups is sideways. She doesn't know. She doesn't know. So these two clearly have a lot more to talk about. But I will say, after an hour and 4 minutes, I don't know how this happened. Ace of Coins. She's going to have a new beginning one way or the other, right? Either with them because she starts talking to them again, or without them. But she is giving it a lot of thought, I think, before making any decision, because, hey, this is her life. This is her time. Who do I want to give my time and energy to? With the Ten of Swords, it could be either or. She could let them go and say, and that's a wrap. And I'm completely over this. And so thank you for the closure. Or she could say, depending on what their answer is, I don't even know. Maybe she's, look, I kind of think that that would be something she wouldn't want to have to ask, period. And if that's been a question mark that's left, she might be saying, you know what, it would be so unsavory to even have to sit down and have that conversation. So how many people have you slept with since last time, you dealt with me? She might say, I don't want to know. I don't care to know. We're already done. We were done a long time ago. And so thanks for the letter. I get you healed a bunch and something's different now. That's terrific. But, there's questions I don't even want to know the answer to about where you've been in the meantime. So I'm just going to go, and she might just do that. She might just let herself move on. Or depending on what explanations are out there, that could totally change the playing field. And it's like, okay, now we can say the past is the past and we can have a new beginning. I have no idea how to interpret that bit because that's up to her. And even she is, sitting and thinking and mulling over it. One way or the other, she's going to get closure or a new beginning. So it's one or the other. We have the Emperor. Here's the big takeaway from all this. We have a divine feminine who says, I will never deal with anyone taking my time that is not offering me what an emperor would have to offer because that's what she wants to give as well. It has to be, she always wanted to build. She always wanted something stable and long-term. And she was, about the hard work and wanted the investment. We saw that from her at the very beginning. And I think this is her realizing what she's attracted to is somebody who knows what the big plan is and wants to talk about the big plan and, wants to stay together and wants to build. And I think nothing but that will do for her. And I think that that's maybe the biggest takeaway here. She was always Emperor, Empress material. And we literally have the Empress. It came out in the reverse. I think that's the biggest thing. And maybe we could even say this is the thing that she needs to make sure she's not walking around saying, it was so agonizing because what you said to me is I wasn't good enough to marry. I wasn't up to your, whatever. You could have been an emperor to me, but you didn't see me as somebody worth being your empress. If that's how she's been walking around, she needs to get that thought out of her head right now. This was never that story. It was never about he's an emperor, but he didn't see her as good enough to marry. That is not the story at all. And if that is what we're putting an end to, oh, hallelujah, because I do not want our character walking around feeling that way. Anytime somebody is like, oh, I'm not ready to be married, it's not because they're not ready to marry you. They're not ready to be married. That's a whole different thing. It doesn't have to do with her. But if that's what had been the real Three of Swords all this time, if that's the skid mark they left on her heart, that was a big one. But we could also say this was a thought process. She needed to realize she had put herself into that mindset. And she needed to get herself out of that mindset because that's bullocks. It was never that you weren't somehow good enough to marry. And if that's what she needed to get out of her head, get out of her heart, and if maybe that is what the real message that they needed to say to her, it was never like you somehow weren't up to snuff to marry. That, right? They need to make sure she knows that to the core of her soul, but she also needs to know that to the core of her soul, I would argue, because otherwise she's always going to walk around and feel like somehow I'm never going to live up to somebody's expectations. So I'm never going to be the person that someone wants to marry. And nobody should walk around feeling that way. Nobody. That was a very hurtful thought process that she had carried. And I think that was buried really deep. The fact that, it took us a whole deck basically to get here in an hour and 9 minutes to get to that fundamental scar that they caused her. It would be nice if they are the person who has the words to undo that scar, but maybe just hearing from them again and going through all this is what will undo the scar, whether she chooses to have anything to do with them again or not. And I think that that part is great to get that lifted. And we definitely see her lifting that with the Ten of Swords and the Ace of Coins. We know she doesn't have to carry that anymore. So that part was so worth it. Oh my God. Sorry it took so long. I always feel like we get the best message at the very, very end. um, I'm so relieved. I'm so relieved to see that that pain has been, eliminated. So you guys, thank you so much. Squish Fish. I have to tell you, like I love having this channel, but if nobody was watching, I would still have gone this long because I had to know, because I needed to know about the characters. Like I write, and so this is just another format for that. But when you have an idea and you're in the creative flow and more questions pop up and you have to know where it's going. It's like if you've ever started painting and you can't stop painting until the picture's done because you have to see what it's going to look like filled in. Like that's how art is for me. So I don't know that I'm dedicated as much as I am just like we got the flow and I got to know what's happening, but it's for me because I need to know about the characters. Bridget, you angel, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you so much for giving it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for subscribing, you guys. That means the world to me. It really helps the channel. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Squish Fish. Thank you for hanging, babe. Ramon, I hope many people were like scrubbing their bathrooms and vacuuming and got through an hour of housework or something, or some tedious task that you didn't want to do while I took your mind off it. That's I always think that I probably play in the background while people are doing like really genuine important things in their life, that they need to take care of, or mundane things, and I'm just kind of the background noise that keeps them, like entertained or something. I love it, Squish Fish. That's awesome. That's awesome. Ramon, so wonderful to see you. Thanks again, honey. Seaside Sandy, wonderful to catch you. Maximus, hey, hey. Moon Age Daydream, hi, sweetie. Miss Sands, thank you so much. You are so lovely. Thank you for being here, honey. Hippie Chick, Rip Van Winkle. Didn't Rip Van Winkle, he slept like 1,000 years, right? Rip Van Winkle. And I feel like I keep you guys up so late. Kathy's Contented Corner, nice to see you. Shauna, thank you again, Angel. Thank you so much, and welcome to all the new members. No Filters Mom, hi, sweetheart. Wonderful to see you. Lynn Andrea, thank you so much. Hey, Dwayne, Lauren Coe, Bruce Reed, thank you, everybody. G Long, Patricia, Annette Summersby, Sheila Thomas, hi, hun. RLBGHS, nice to see you. You're so sweet. SLH, I know, right? We get the most complicated stories sometimes. Angie Leo Queen, thanks for popping in. Patricia De Silva Lopez, right back to you. Thank you, honey. Really good to see you. And Chenna, always a delight, honey. Morgan's Machine, I'm so glad that you made it. Chikasa, thank you again, hon. Supernova, hallelujah. Ronnie Diary. Sorry, Ronnie L Diary, excuse me. Or I Diary? I Diary. Carrie B for me. Buenas noches. Oh, gosh. Aaron Swelt, so nice to see you. Shane 9. Thank you, everybody. Chanda and Violet, you were first in the house. All right, you guys. Yes, Mayu, it is collective. I pretty much only do collectives on this channel, and then I also do just Cancer, and then all the other zodiacs are done on my main channel on Regretless Life. So if you're looking for specifics, in this storyline, we never really saw exactly, other than he was operating as a King of Cups sometimes, as a King of Swords sometimes. So we saw our characters kind of switch zodiacs a bit, depending on like what energy they were in this. So yeah. All right, you guys, take care. Bridget, I love that. I am honored to hang out with you guys. Actually, it's not quite as late as it normally is it? It's only 10:51. I think last night I was up until like 2 a.m. Arzu Sharecat, thank you for being here. Right back at you. You're wonderful. All right, everybody. I will see you on the other side. I'm still going to do a today's topic on the other channel. So I'll see you there. Bye, guys. Take care. Oh, everybody stay warm if it's snowing where you are. I'm in the northern hemisphere, so I'm very chilly here too, but not so much snow yet. We've had some, but just not tons yet, but it's coming. All right. Bye guys. Stay warm.